Good day, good people. This is the Holla the Truth podcast, brought to you by yours truly, Holla the Truth. Giving you the truth for the future, the present, and the past. But I gotta ask, can you handle it? What the fuck is up? Back at it again. Holla the Truth podcast. Just an update on myself. Since the last time we talked, I've been let go of my job. I'm coaching. I have a new thing coming, Start Sports. Going to some of the high school basketball games, interviewing and whatnot. Yeah, since me and the job separated. Well, right before that, actually, the job had canceled the company I was going through therapy with. They had canceled the contract. So I've been out of therapy since about December. And I think I need to reach out to my therapist. I've been in a bit of a funk lately. Just with all that's going on and then stressing about finances, trying to figure everything out. Sometimes I look like I got it even if I don't. Most people could never tell if I even had something wrong with me or if just something wasn't right. But yeah, some of those therapeutic exercises I haven't really been engaged in. I actually feel like I've been on autopilot lately, just kind of going with the wind. Yeah, I'm trying to figure some things out. I'm thinking about getting into like child development or like social work with children or something. I'm really good with kids. Like my basketball team, got a bunch of kids that never played basketball before, and I could see it, they could see it, and the parents can see it that they've all developed in the little short time that we did have together. It's like an 8-week thing. We lost the first game of the playoffs by like 6 points, but they played good. The first time we played that team, I don't even think we scored 10 points, or we might have just scored 10 points. This time it was a little bit more competitive to only lose by 6 points. But I love it. I see how much the kids bring out of me and how fun it is for me to deal with the kids and see the progress and just to cheer with them, to see the smiles on their faces when we won the game we had just won the week before. The team we actually lost to in the playoffs, we played them a week before, and beating them, I seen the kids' morale and confidence shoot up. Like when we even had a chance in the game, all the kids were happy-go-lucky, and they were ready to win. They were out there ready for it. They listened to the game plan I put in at practice. We executed it, but they had a game plan for us the following week for the playoffs, and, things didn't go our way. But like I said, I love seeing the kids develop. I love seeing the kids have confidence in themselves and morale boosting. But outside of that, I think somebody told me not to claim the idea, but I've been in a funk, a little state of depression. Gotten back in the bowling alley because that seems to be my safe space at this point. That's kind of where I go when nothing else really matters, especially when I'm on the lanes. Like some people hoop or play football or go to the gym even. Yeah, my outlet is the bowling alley. Just the vibes, it's a lot of love there from people. And sometimes it just makes me feel like I always want to feel, a temporary feeling, but it's a feeling. Yeah. But self-discipline is obviously going to be the key to getting myself out of this mood I've been in. I've been lacking a lot of that. Even with like goals, I started off the year strong, and we kind of deteriorated, diverted from some of these goals, but they're all still obtainable. It's not like I just completely let them go. Kind of took a break. Now that I don't have any games to coach or any exterior influences on getting myself together, I can kind of zero in, have them long conversations with myself, have a real heart to heart, and figure these things out. As far as my love life, this new dating age is kind of scary. It's like crazy. It's real competitive. It seems like most women are here for money. What niggas gonna do the most for them, I guess, is what it's looking like. Not to say that's all women. Don't get me wrong. And I've ran across some women that don't care what you have. They just want you. But I don't think I know my interest wasn't there. And I refrained from, engaging. But I ran across some great women. It just be something. I guess I'm real picky. One of my friends just told me. He like, not in a bad way. You just know what you want, and you refuse to settle for what you don't, I guess. Yeah. Like what they say, the dating pool got pee in it. Nah, there's chlorine in that water too, so it kind of dissolved the piss, I guess. But yeah, I'm gonna figure this love life thing out. Cause there's times where I want to be in love or with somebody, or just in a state of not dying alone. Cause 80% of the time 90% of the time I'm by myself, and who's to say something don't happen? What if something bad happens and I'm just here by myself and no one to call, can't get to a phone or whatever. Nobody's coming in here to check. So that's something I always worry about. Like one of my partners said, he got married because he doesn't want to die alone. And younger, it was kind of like, we all gonna die alone. But as I've gotten older, it adds perspective. It makes a lot of sense now. We all want somebody to be there for us, with us, somebody to grow with, somebody to just go through life with. I think I ruined a fair amount of women on my journey to figuring out myself and what I want. My apologies. Learning life just like you are. Every day's a new challenge. Every day we gotta figure out who we are and what we want. Speaking of every day, yesterday was Valentine's Day. I have conversations with people about this. Somebody just asked me like why I don't celebrate Valentine's Day, or why I don't engage in Valentine's Day. Yeah, I think that's the word I use. But I feel like it's superficial as hell, which everybody understands that idea. And most men wouldn't give a fuck about Valentine's Day. But I guess to make the woman happy, we go out of our ways to do that. Or they do. I don't. But I just kind of feel like if this shit is regular, flowers, candy, dates, and whatever, gifts, if it's regular, then what is it on this day that makes it so much more significant? I kind of feel like niggas that go all out on Valentine's Day put up lackluster performances throughout the year. And so they just, try to balance it out, I guess. Like I've seen a lot of women posting what they got from these niggas that we all know are cheating and doing weird shit. And I don't know. It don't sit well with me that people put Valentine's Day on a pedestal when, like I said, their spouses are putting up lackluster performances throughout the year. I don't think if an NBA player scores 10 points a year and has 10 turnovers, his 40-point game with 10 turnovers ain't gonna look the same either. You know, still a lackluster performance. You still had 10 turnovers. I mean, fuck 40 points, especially if y'all lose the game. But yeah, that's just kind of my thoughts and ideas on it. It's always worth looking deeper into. I love to have a conversation with people. I love to have a conversation with somebody about it. If you ever have to question it. But yeah, I'm not into the superficial thing. Me, what I always tell a woman that I'm pursuing or interested in, or, you know, if the subject comes up, it's like, we can figure out our own day. We don't have to do it on the same day everybody does it. When everything's more expensive, everything is like, it's like a pissing contest at this point. And I don't, like, what are we competing for? If we love each other, what the fuck difference does this day make? To me. Somebody else might have a different opinion about that. But to me, if we can't get past this one day, what are we really doing? If this day is just so significant, it's not your birthday, it's not our anniversary, it's just a day that they told us we should be celebrating love. And when you look into the history of it, some of y'all get where I'm going with that. But we're going to leave that at that. But yeah, like I said, I'm looking for some type of love out there. It's out there for me. Gotta find it. Or maybe I just need to stop being so picky. Who knows? Anyways, I had a couple friends of mine reach out with some questions that they wanted me to answer on here. I guess just to spark conversation. Because came up with a new theme for the podcast. It's more of mental stimulation. Just stimulate some thoughts. Spark some conversations. Let people get me some questions, you know? So one of the questions is emotional intelligence. What does it mean to me? How do I practice it in my home or on the job? And how do I teach it to my child or children? My children. Emotional intelligence. It's not necessarily just knowing that you have the emotions. Like, oh, I'm sad, I'm depressed, I'm whatever the emotion is. It's being able to control yourself in those emotions. Like, if you know me, when I play the game, I get emotional about it because I'm like top tier with that shit. So it's times when I get emotional about it, and in the moment, you know, it seems like I'm spazzing out, but I'm still trying to get that one under control. But yeah, the emotional intelligence thing, you know, just being able to control yourself in those harder situations. Sometimes we let our emotions get the best of us. That's why niggas be shooting each other. People be shooting each other. Let's not leave that to niggas. But, you know, that's an emotional thing. Like being a gang member, being a gangster is emotional. Those are all the acts of violence and whatever gang members do. Those are all stem from emotions. So emotional intelligence would be understanding that I shouldn't do this, and being able to see the consequences in the moment. Obviously not going to happen all the time. But just have an understanding of what those emotions are and also digging deeper with those emotions after the fact and getting into the idea of what I felt, why I felt, and the history of it. Like, where does this stem from? Trying to identify that. That's all a part of emotional intelligence to me. How I practice it, like I said, I dig deeper with shit. Sometimes I remember an emotion I had or a feeling or something that wasn't right, and I dig deeper into it and try to figure out why, try to go further back in like my childhood traumas, I guess. But an example is my lack of affection. Like, I've been scrutinized in relationships for my lack of affection. And I had to try to figure out where that came from. Like, why it gives me it it doesn't move me the way it moves people all the time. Most of the time I just don't want to be touched, and sometimes in relationships you kind of gotta, hide that feeling, I guess, like just to make the other person feel comfortable. But that idea came up with one of my exes, and I had to dig deeper and try to figure out why I was so unaffectionate. One, it comes from like calamity in the relationship. Once I feel a way about you, it's harder for me to want to be affectionate with you. And being up under somebody all the time, it's also hard to want to be affectionate. It's like no opportunity for me to miss you in that. Another thing is, I guess, like a childhood trauma thing. Like, my mom was young when she had me. She was a teenager. So I had to go back and ask, like, were you affectionate with me as a child? And she remembers, like, no, I was a kid with a kid. I didn't really know how to do, like, I didn't know how to be a mom. So shout out to her. She learned over the years. She's great with her grandchild. But, yeah, just digging deeper within, I started figuring out what it was. Like, I don't yearn for it because I didn't get it. So that was me digging deeper into why I wasn't something, or why I can't get this emotion or feeling that everybody else gets when they're being affectionate. There are times where I want affection for sure, but on a majority level, I'm fine. Which also could be trauma too. Like, maybe I'm not fine. Maybe that is something I'm lacking and I need. And even when I feel like I don't need it, I probably do need it. But for now, from what I got from it, I'm fine. I can take the minimal of it. And as far as my kids, I try. My son's 9. His brother's 6. He'll be 16 this year. It's kind of hard to implement emotional intelligence in somebody. I actually haven't had that talk, so I might actually have to tap in and try to figure out a way to talk to them about their emotional intelligence. Because my son's very sensitive. He gets flustered, and his first reaction is to like get teary-eyed. And it's like, bro, it's okay to cry, but what are you crying for? So I guess that is a part of teaching them some emotional intelligence. But sometimes, that man, dad mode kicks in, and it's like, bruh, chill. Like, the fuck are you crying for? I try to minimize that. Like, try to do that very minimal. I don't want him to feel like he shouldn't cry. I remember the first time he ever seen me cry, he was like 2 or 3 or something, and he didn't, in his head, it didn't register that I was crying, and he was asking me why I was sweating. So I wonder what in his mind makes him think that men don't cry, or why he reverted to sweat instead of me crying. I highly doubt he remembers it, but I'll talk to him one day about it. Kind of see his take on it and what he feels about men crying. I don't want him to grow up thinking that men shouldn't cry, because men do cry. And I don't want him to grow up thinking that he has to do it alone. Like, I'm here, his mom's here, his brother's here, his grandmas are here, grandpas are here. Like, you don't have to do this alone. Aunts, cousins, you don't ever have to do this alone. And I definitely want him to feel that. I want both of them to understand that they don't have to go through anything alone. Even though sometimes we feel like that's the best thing to do, is to go through things alone. And it's not always the best, you know. You do need people. Like I always say, nobody but nobody can make it alone. Janet Jackson, Poetic Justice. Another question was, where do you find the most peace? I find the most peace. So actually, I've been meditating. That was one of my yearly goals, was to meditate. Actually slacking. I don't think I've done it in like a week and a half. But every morning I was waking up, and the first thing, sit there with my 10 minutes of meditation, and it actually was making my days a little brighter, going a little better. I was actually winning my bets and shit, but that's another topic. But mostly the bowling alley, like I spoke on, the bowling alley is where I find the most peace. It seems like when I get in there, see the faces that I'm used to seeing, the smiles, the love that I'm getting in there, it, helps me forget about what the fuck's going on outside. Like, the world could be burning down, but if I'm in the bowling alley, nothing matters. Like ATL, Rashad in the skating ring, like, nothing matters when I'm in the bowling alley. And if something is penetrating that hard that I bring it into the bowling alley, I take it out on the pins. I remember there was a time where, I'm looking at the pins and I'm like, you got 10 problems up there, knock them down. If you leave one, all right, you got one more problem, you need to take care of that. So I do use it as a therapeutic exercise, and that is where I do find the most peace. I had been out of bowling for 6 months. Didn't really realize that it had been that long, but now I'm getting back into it, and I see how happy I am when I'm in there. So yeah, if I had to ask, where do I find the most peace? It's in the bowling alley and in my meditation. It's hard to meditate. I'm still trying to get the hang of it. Like, clear your mind and don't think about anything. But it's hard. Sometimes I can get into that state, but it's very short. Like, it's like a good 5 seconds of no thoughts, and then something sparks, and then something sparks, and then something sparks. So I go down a rabbit hole with it. But I'm getting better at it. Shout out to 50 Cent. He kind of helped me. There's some meditating practices that he had mentioned in his book, Work Harder, Work Smarter, that I took heed to, and I practice them when I do meditate. So shout out to him. The last question is, what does it mean to live in your true purpose? To me, to live in your true purpose, you have to do what satisfies you. Everything we do now is a learned behavior, from when we're born to when we're grown and can even understand it. All of it is learned and mimicked, but to live in your true self is to do what makes you happy. Like, somebody does something in every category you do. Somebody listens to the same music you do. Somebody watches the same shows you do. Somebody dresses the same way you do. Somebody wears the same shoes. Somebody has the same some similar aspirations that you do. But living in your true purpose is not being regretful of anything that gotten you to where you are. I feel like if you've been regretting things, it's because you know you shouldn't have been doing them, or they didn't feel right in your heart when you did do them. And you started walking out of your purpose. So, yeah, your true purpose is to follow what's in your heart, what feels good to you. At a certain point, growing up, you want to fit in. But as you get older, you realize that fitting in isn't the cool thing. Being cool isn't the cool thing. Nowadays, like, a lot of people just do shit to fit in. I feel like the kids have it the worst because of social media. They all have to fit in to this criteria. Like the young men that just want to be shiestied up and looking like they up to no good for no reason. Hey, it's the women, that's what the women act like they like. So what do you think the men are going to do? Act like what women like, So if we want to change that idea, women, it starts with you. Just to put that out there. Like the Nick Cannon movie Chirac. No peace, no pussy is what they was chanting. It kind of made a difference to an extent. But women have the power to, changing the social dynamics regarding our young men. They only gonna do what y'all like. Which is completely opposite for women. They do a lot of shit that they think other women like, which is crazy. Like eyelashes and eyebrows and all of that, and the hair. Like, men kind of eyed on some hair, but the eyelashes and eyebrows, I ain't never heard no nigga, nah, bro, I can't talk to her. She don't got no eyelashes. I've never heard a man say that. I ain't talking to her because she has them big ass fake eyelashes on. I've heard that. But nah, I don't. And then women try to say they're like enhancements. Like, me, honestly, I feel like they're insecurities that we're trying to hide. Like, you don't have any flaws. You were made in the image that you were supposed to be made in. I think we're all beautiful in our own ways. I think we all will find love just being ourselves. I think doing superficial things gets you superficial results. And that's why failed relationships are so common now. There's some other things going on, mostly in our community, that are a result of superficial and popularity, which I won't speak on. But yeah, I guess we're still stemming back to true purpose. So yeah, like, if you're not really about that, which you shouldn't be. It's 2025. It's way too many fucking cameras and shit and weird laws, and y'all still want to be about that life. Like, do these niggas not watch videos of these niggas getting life, the hardest nigga in the streets getting life and crying in the courtroom? Like, jail's not fun. Ain't no pussy in jail. There's, like, I don't get it. I understand in taking risks to kind of get where you going, but some of these risks you niggas be taking is a little wild for me. Like, that's always been my thought. Ain't no pussy in jail, and I love pussy. So, it's got to be some real situational shit for me to go to jail and keep going back and back and back. Yeah, I don't like that idea. But to each his own, brother. So yeah, to sum it up, had this job situation fall out of my hands. Been out of therapy for couple months. Been in a little funk, but we gonna bounce out of that. Shout out to y'all. Y'all gonna help me through this. This is also another place I find peace. I didn't mention that. Having these conversations with myself, I find peace in this, and I'm gonna start doing it more often because I don't see why I don't. But yeah, I need to get this rolling because this is definitely peaceful. I actually haven't thought about nothing but other than what I'm talking about, and it's all strategic. But yeah, shout out to y'all. Shout out to Finding Love. Shout out to those that do celebrate Valentine's Day. To each his own, like I say. I tapped on my emotional intelligence with myself, my strategies, and helping with the kids. Like I said, finding my peace, meditation, bowling, and the podcast at this point. And contrary to popular belief, I do find peace in the video game. I only play Madden, by the way. Like, I don't really fuck with nothing else. But I do find peace in that. It just pisses me off sometimes. So, or when I'm already pissed off about the world and life, the game just adds emphasis to it sometimes. But I do find peace and solidarity into the game, even though I be spazzing out. And living your true purpose. You know, I encourage everybody to live in their true purpose and to start being honest with yourself first, so you can be honest with the world. A lot of people are living in other people's shadows, and they're in their own way. You know, so get out your own way. Shout out to me. But once again, this is the HollaTheTruth podcast, giving you the truth for the future, the present, and the past. But I gotta ask, can you handle it?